Unpacked, you're positively enormous. Your lungs, smooth out, would cover a tennis court, and the airways within them would stretch from London to Moscow. The length of all your blood vessels would take you 2.5 times around the earth. The most remarkable part is your DNA. You have a meter of it packed into every cell, and so many cells that if you formed all the DNA in your body into a single fine strand, it would stretch 10 billion miles to beyond Pluto. Think of it, there is enough of you to leave the solar system. The heart of the cell is the nucleus. It contains the cell's DNA, a meter of it, as we have already noted, is granted into a space that we may reasonably call infinitesimal. The reason so much DNA can fit into a cell nucleus is that it is exquisitely thin. You would need 20 billion strands of DNA laid side by side to make the width of the finest human hair. Every cell in your body, strictly speaking every cell with a nucleus, holds 2 copies of your DNA. That's why you have enough to stretch to Pluto and beyond. DNA exists for just one purpose: to create more DNA. Your DNA is simply an instruction manual for making you. A DNA molecule, as you will almost certainly remember from countless television programs, if not school biology, is made up of 2 strands connected by rungs to form the celebrated twisted ladder known as a double helix. A length of DNA is divided into segments called chromosomes and shorter individuals units called genes. The sum of all your genes is a genome. DNA is extremely stable. It can last for tens of thousands of years. It is nowadays what enables scientists to work out the anthropology of the very distant past. Your DNA will almost certainly still be around and recoverable 1,000 years from now. DNA passes on information with extraordinary fidelity. It makes only about 1 error per every billion letters copied. Still, that works out at about 3 errors or mutations per cell division. Most of those mutations the body can ignore, but just occasionally they have lasting significance. That is evolution. All of the components of the genome have one single-minded purpose: to keep the line of your existence going. It's a slightly humbling thought that the genes you carry are immensely, I don't remember how to pronounce it, okay? Ancient and possibly so far anyway eternal. For you to be here now, every one of your ancestors had to successfully pass on its genetic material to a new generation before being snuffed out or otherwise sidetracked from the productive process. That's quite a chain of success. What genes specifically do is provide instructions for building proteins. Most of the useful things in the body are proteins. Some speed up chemical changes and are known as enzymes. Others convey chemical messages and are known as hormones. Still others attack pathogens and are called antibodies. The largest of all our proteins is called chitin, which helps to control muscles' elasticity. Its chemical name is, I'm not gonna say the number, letters long. Nobody knows how many types of protein there are within us, but estimates range from a few 100,000 to 1 million or more. All humans share 99.9% of their DNA, and yet no 2 humans are alike. My DNA and your DNA will differ in 3 to 4 million places, which is a small proportion of the total, but enough to make a lot of difference between us. You also have within you about 100 personal mutations, stretches of genetic instructions that don't quite match any of the genes given to you by either of your parents, but are yours alone. Only 2% of the human genome codes for proteins, which is to say only 2% does anything demonstrably and unevocably practical. One particular short sequence called an ALU element is repeated more than 1,000,000 times throughout our genome, including sometimes in the middle of important protein coding genes. It is complete gibberish, as far as anyone can tell. Yet it constitutes 10% of all our genetic material. The mysterious part was, for a while, called junk DNA, but it's now more graciously called dark DNA, meaning that we don't know what it does or why is it there. Some is involved in regulating the genes, but much of the rest remains to be determined. So think of all the junk food you throw down your throat and how much of your life is spent sprawled in a near vegetative state in front of a glowing screen. Yet in some kind of miraculous way, our bodies look after us, extract nutrients from the miscellaneous foodstuffs we push into our faces, and somehow hold us together, generally at a pretty high level, for decades. Suicide by lifestyle takes ages. 5 out of every 6 smokers won't get lung cancer. Most of the people who are prime candidates for heart attacks don't get heart attacks. Every day, it has been estimated between 1 and 5 of our cells turns cancerous and your immune system captures and kills them. Think of that. A couple of dozen times a week, you get the most dreaded disease of your age, and each time your body saves you. Of course, very occasionally a cancer develops into something more serious and possibly kills you, but overall cancers are rare. Most cells in the body replicate billions and billions of times without going wrong. Our bodies are a universe of 37.2 trillion cells. Our skin is our largest organ and possibly the most versatile. It keeps our inside in and bad things out. It cushions blows. It gives us our sense of touch, bringing us pleasure and warmth and pain and nearly everything else that makes us vital. It produces melanin to shield us from the sun's rays. It repairs itself when we abuse it. It accounts for such beauty as we can muster. It looks after us. The formal name for the skin is the cutaneous system, and its size is about 2 square meters. It is thinnest on the eyelids and thickest on the heels of your hands and feet. The skin consists of an inner layer called the dermis and an outer epidermis. The outermost surface of the epidermis, called the stratum corneum, is made up entirely of dead cells. It is an arresting thought that all that makes you lovely is diseased.